Hello, welcome to these tutorials on Linguavote usage. In this tutorial we will explore ways in which you can integrate Linguavote as an independent study component within your ELT curriculum. Each unit of Linguavote is a self-contained module with its own learning outcome and language objectives. This format makes the Linguavote content extremely flexible. If students are using Linguavote independently in a distance learning context, it may be appropriate to allow them to choose the units they wish to complete and the order they wish to complete them in. However, if students are using Linguavote as a supplement to class-based study, we recommend that you instruct your students on the units they should complete. This will enable you to review the unit content in class more effectively. It is completely up to you which units to include and which to leave out, but as a general rule, we recommend that you start with units at the top of the list and work down. This is because the units follow the language syllabus of common ELT textbooks and get gradually more difficult in terms of the complexity of vocabulary and grammar. To demonstrate this, here's an example of the language load in the first beginner level unit compared with one of the later beginner units. We recommend that you instruct your students to complete units at a level that best reflects the level stream of your class. Those levels are beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate and intermediate, taking students from pre-A1 to B1 level on the CEFR. Students can switch levels at any time. Before you begin assigning units to your students, please check with your administration team in case we have provided a customised learning journey for your institution. Let's now look at how long it takes to complete the Linguavote content. Each beginner level unit takes between 15 to 45 minutes to complete, and there are 28 units. At elementary, pre-intermediate and intermediate levels, there are 14 units at each level, but the units are longer, taking between 30 to 60 minutes to complete. The exact time it takes to complete a unit depends on how the student decides to progress through the lessons, whether they rush through without writing comments, whether they take time to consider each activity and write good quality comments. If your students are starting at beginner level, it's likely that in the first few weeks they will benefit more from completing the language activities without posting many comments. But as their vocabulary improves and as they start to see the rewards of posting comments that are liked by the community, you should see them starting to spend more time on each unit. Here's a little bit of explanation as to why the beginner units are shorter than the units at other levels. At the beginner level, we usually limit vocabulary presentation to 10 items per unit to accommodate 0 beginner students. There are only 2 polls in the unit, located from lesson 3 onwards, allowing enough time to present all items of vocabulary and to check students' understanding of the vocabulary before they use it to express an opinion. At this level, there are only 3 opportunities to write a comment per unit. At elementary level and above, the vocabulary load significantly increases to approximately 34 vocabulary items per unit. At these levels, there is a poll after each of the first 4 lessons and 5 opportunities to write a comment per unit. Let's now look at implications on how Linguavote could be scheduled as part of your independent study programme. I'll talk through one common pacing scenario as an example, but please refer to your administration team in case your institution has agreed a customised pacing schedule. In an average intensive learning programme in a university foundation year, students are expected to do 3 hours of self-study per week. If this applies to your institution, you should allow 5 weeks to complete each level of Linguavote. Here's how we break that down at beginner level. It takes an average of 30 minutes to complete a beginner level unit. There are 28 units at the beginner level, so if you assign 6 units per week, that's 1 for each weekday and 1 for the weekend, that adds up to approximately 3 hours of independent study per week, with the whole level completed in 5 weeks. At the other levels, it takes approximately 60 minutes to complete a unit, twice as long as the beginner units, but there are half the number of units at these levels. So if students complete 3 units per week, they will spend approximately 3 hours doing independent study each week, the same as at beginner level. And just like at beginner level, they will complete the elementary level in 5 weeks, the pre-intermediate level in 5 weeks, and the intermediate level in 5 weeks. In total, Linguavote offers 20 weeks of independent study based on students doing 3 hours of independent study per week. That's a total of 60 hours to complete the Linguavote program from beginner to intermediate level. In this tutorial, we covered the essential aspects of timetabling Linguavote. Join me in part 2, in which we'll look at Linguavote's approach to reviewing students' work on the platform.